Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday and welcome to the Blue Dot Project's Maternal Mental Health Awareness Week live event on mindfulness and maternal mental health. I'm Cindy Herrick, and I'm the lead for this Maternal Mental Health Awareness Week campaign at the Blue Dot Project. And we are so grateful and thankful for all the participation that we've seen so far this week. Thank you for sharing your stories and experiences and for helping us raise awareness about maternal mental health. Now, today, we are so very excited to partner with Expectful today. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Expectful, they are a meditation app specifically for moms. Amazing. So we're excited to partner with them to talk about the benefits of using mindfulness as a healthy coping skill for moms. Now, if you've been following our campaign this week, you may already know that this year we've teamed up with Tough as a Mother to focus on the intersection of maternal mental health and substance use disorder, along with other unhealthy coping skills and other unhealthy coping strategies and addictions. Our goal is to raise awareness and provide mothers information, support, hope, and healthy coping strategies. Now, one of the ways that these two areas overlap is the need to recognize the importance of developing these healthy coping skills, especially if we are asking people to take a break from negative and unhealthy coping skills. So, in order to do that, we need to give them the tools to develop new healthy ones. Now, personally, as a mom and a survivor of perinatal depression, anxiety, and OCD, I know firsthand the importance of mindfulness. But mindfulness and meditation are actually evidence-based practices that have been shown to reduce anxiety, stress, depression, while promoting mental wellness. So I'm super excited to have this discussion with my guests and co-hosts today. We have Gabrielle Cohen, who is a mindfulness coach and midwife from Expectful, and also Teresa Fortune, who is a maternal mental health activist, filmmaker, and author. And I am going to add them right now. Let's see. There we are. We have Gabrielle. How
Hello.
are you?
It's so good to be here with you today. And thank you, everyone who is joining our live. It is wonderful to be here. And I just wanted to start off by telling you a little bit about my background and what brings me to the conversation today. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi. So my name is Gabrielle McDade, and I come from a mindfulness background. I was a yoga teacher for many years and have been working as a midwife and coach for over a decade now. And so through my work, I have really seen the benefit of mindfulness in the lives of the mothers and different people that I've supported. But most importantly, from my own experience, I really felt firsthand the intensity of what it was like to be a new mom. So despite the fact that I was a midwife and well-resourced and about as prepared as one could be for the postpartum and new motherhood experience, I really struggled with postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. And so through my own experience of struggling with those mental health disorders, I really saw the value of introducing mindfulness practices. And let me just tell you, I'm going to be as real with you as possible. I was in a really dark place this morning dealing with some of the challenges and responsibilities that come with being a mom. And really, the thing that got me through it was getting in the shower and doing my mantras and affirmations and doing that practice of mindfulness. Because as we all know, mindfulness is not something that we just turn on one day and suddenly step into a more enlightened and brighter state of being, but it's something that we practice day in and day out. And so what I want to share before we pass it over to Teresa for the introduction is that if you are on the mindfulness journey and you are in a place that feels dark and low and challenging, just know that you're not doing it wrong, that the way that we practice mindfulness is through showing up for the practice of it day in and day out. So I'll pass it to Teresa to introduce yourself.
Ah,
Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you.
And hello, Teresa.
Hi, taking notes on that intro, by the way. In all transparency, I totally understand even the struggle this morning. So again, Teresa Fortune, I am the filmmaker of the documentary film From the Ashes, which is a film about my personal journey through postpartum depression. So I tracked my development mentally, emotionally, and physically over the duration of 9 years. And we were able to produce and release the film this year. So this conversation is, I just want to pause. Like, how's the sound on your end, by the way? Are you hearing it?
Yeah, you're kind of going in and out. I don't know if you hear that, Gabriel, on your end.
Yeah, it is just a little choppy. I'm getting the overall gist, but
Yeah.
Okay. Because I heard it while you all were talking. Well, so I'll go ahead and just continue.
Yeah.
Uh,
Good.
Value of this conversation for me as a woman who gave birth while being on Medicaid, who felt like I didn't have access to as many resources as I needed to navigate the postpartum space. Mindfulness was the one thing that did not require a copay. Mindfulness was the one thing that was accessible to me at every point of the journey. Getting into the space of wanting to do mindfulness was a bit of a struggle as well, because you have to learn about the practice and create healthy habits. So the one thing that I love, absolutely love about this app is that you make this education accessible for everyone, and it's reasonably priced. And again, it's less expensive than most coaches. So I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you both so much for the wonderful introductions. So just a few questions that I'm going to pose to both of you, and I'll kind of prompt you a little bit. So what about mindfulness makes it uniquely supportive for moms? You know, I think you touched on it for a few of that. And any tips for getting started? So I'm going to kick it over to Gabrielle first and then Teresa after that.
yeah, absolutely. I'll focus on the tips for getting started. And, I think that this is regardless of whether or not you're just starting off on your journey, or as you mentioned, Teresa, if you're in a place where you're needing support and the main resource is you and your capacity to connect with your mind, your heart, and your breath, and what to do in those moments when it's clear that mindfulness is the answer, but it feels inaccessible to you in the moment because you're struggling with depression or you're struggling with anxiety. And so, one of the first steps that I really see for engaging in a mindfulness practice is regulation. It can be really challenging to practice mindfulness if your nervous system is dysregulated. And so, some of the really simple, basic first steps are take a shower, go for a walk in nature, just sit on your front stoop or your back porch, whatever little sliver of land you have, and get some sunshine on your eyelids and on your face. And just doing some of these practices that are also free and accessible, showering, fresh air, going for a walk in nature. And it can take as long as, 2 to 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be a large practice, can be the foundation for creating space in your mind, heart, and body for engaging in mindfulness. It's kind of like if your goal is to exercise for 3 hours every week, and that is the only goal, it can sometimes feel insurmountable to get there, as opposed to starting with, what if we took a 5-minute walk around the block? And so the same can be true for mindfulness. What if you start with taking a shower and breathing deeply in the shower and noticing when you are in that negative self-talk spiral, and seeing if you can just introduce a few kind and loving words to yourself. So that would be my suggestion for how to get started in your mindfulness practice. Teresa,
Sure.
anything you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I'm dealing with a little bit of anxiety because of the amount of productivity from this week. It's all of us are very busy, considering that we're on the front line and we're doing something that we're very passionate. So we're very committed, and it is time consuming. And so one of the ways that I decided to just recalibrate my energy was to take my daughter to the park, but I took my shoes off and I decided to walk bare, just bare on the grass with my feet. And that is something that's very, very simple. We're always at the park. We're always doing things with our kids. And even in the middle of doing that, even if you don't have the time to close your eyes, depending on the age of your child, there's certain little practices that you can do by simply grounding yourself and taking 1 or 2 minutes to just intentionally breathe. So mindfulness to me is really about bringing awareness into time and making room to feel your feelings. So yeah, if you may have a day where you feel really sad, or just extremely overwhelmed, I personally don't necessarily reject those feelings because they are very valid. I make room to acknowledge them and I wrap them with compassion. And in doing that, that is what mindfulness is to me. It's bringing awareness into time and bringing your breath into the practice. So it's accessible. You can go to the park. You can slow down at the stove while you are cooking. And even again, if you can't close your eyes because you have so many things going on, just slow your breath down and be very intentional with that practice.
That sounds amazing, Teresa. And thank you, Gabrielle. Now, to kind of tap into, your story, Teresa, a little bit, any specific tips to moms of color, and I'm going to tie this into our next question too, and I'll kick it back to you after Gabrielle, about sharing personal examples of how mindfulness has either benefited you as a parent, as a person. We would love to get more of your insight on that.
Yes, absolutely. While navigating my postpartum depression, which went undiagnosed for a very long time, there's a lot of different factors. Obviously, we're aware of the systemic discrepancies for women of color. But while navigating that space, I didn't really have the fortitude, the education, or the language for what I was going through. And eventually climbing around the things that were within my reach, like this app, very much so accessible and affordable for me. So diving into resources that are accessible was pretty much my medical coverage on many days when I didn't have a therapist. So I remember when my daughter was she was barely 1 year old, and she also had colic. So it was the constant crying, the screaming. It was extremely overwhelming. And I remember having this moment where I felt very volatile. It's really difficult for me to talk about it because there's still so much guilt and shame within that moment. And I just wanted her to go, and she would not do it. And I remember, instead of gently just like, okay, babe, just lay down, I remember putting her in my arms and kind of shoving her over, like, please, like, just please go to bed, And so I think that what I would have done differently had I had access to this resource and the education of what mindfulness is all about, I would have actually just taken a deep breath. I would have had the ability to create my own bubble of just calmness and to just breathe in and to like release and exhale the stress. So, to all the moms that are listening, I just want you to understand that it's real. The fatigue is real. It's disrespectfully difficult. And in those moments when you don't have a community or you don't have a sister or a partner to join you in a high stress moment, I highly suggest getting involved into the mindfulness practice because in most cases, it's a lifeline for many people, and it definitely is and is for me. And it takes practice. It takes a long time to create a habit, and then the habit forms into a lifestyle. So take the pressure off, and just give it, I don't know, 1 or 2 minutes a day. When you wake up in the morning, set the intention for the day, slow your breathing down, and bring awareness into how you're feeling in that moment. And then take the time to make your mind up on the type of day that you want to have, because you can do that and you do have the power to decide. So yes, it's very essential in my daily practices, and I highly recommend that we all join this practice and get into the app as a community.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Gabrielle?
Yeah, so something I wanted to bring into the conversation today, I know that, the focus is around mental health, and I want to take a moment and make the link and the connection between our mental health and our physical health, and how so many mothers, including myself, suffer from different degrees of chronic pain or neck problems or thyroid dysregulation or any amount of the physical implications that can come from being a mom. The sleepless nights, the fatigue, the exhaustion, the stress can really take a toll not only on our mental and emotional experience, but also on our physical experience. And one of the biggest shifts that I began to notice with the mindfulness practices that I was participating in was the correlation between my physical health and my mental and emotional health. And as I spent more time nurturing myself emotionally and mentally through these mindfulness practices, I noticed a lot more freedom and ease in my physical body. A lot of the moms that I talk to are dealing with different types of challenges, whether they be mental or physical. And so regardless of where you are on the spectrum of challenges, noticing that taking care of your physical body and just focusing on the physicality of it can sometimes not be enough to give your physical body what it needs. Because if you are experiencing stress, fatigue, exhaustion, overwhelm, it really does take a toll. The hormones that come with stress, adrenaline, catecholamines, can really wear on our physical body. And so really understanding the correlation between the two can sometimes give us the motivation to keep practicing the mindfulness and incorporating the two. So if you are going for a run or doing your exercise routine, noticing, are you practicing mindfulness in those moments? So are you on the yoga mat and thinking about the 20 things that you need to do to take care of yourself and your child? Or are you able to enhance your physical practice by practicing mindfulness as well? And so from my own experience, I really did notice that as I began to engage in mindfulness practices, that my physical health, which I struggled with, helped to really improve, because the anxiety, the chronic pain, they're not separate things. They really are deeply connected.
I love that. Thank you for making that point. And just one more point before we get into our mindfulness activity is that I think as mothers, sometimes we feel guilt for taking time and putting ourselves first. I know I do with, some chronic health issues, as you mentioned. I sometimes think that it's better to give that time to my child rather than take it for myself. But as a practice now, as a family, I explain to my son, who is 9 and a half now, that mindfulness can work for all of us, and to take a little bit of time, and that I'm taking care of myself, and I'm modeling that behavior for him. And so I encourage moms to kind of, sometimes how we frame it, the awareness of what that wellness is for us. It's not selfish. It trickles down, to our kids and to our families. So I really encourage moms to be aware of that on all aspects, because now my son will tell me, I need to take a moment for myself. I'm going to go to my room. And I think the other day he said, I need a quiet moment, Mama. I'm like, go for it, and I was really proud that he could do that, because I didn't have those tools, until after, I think, the postpartum period. So, but I'm going to turn it back over to you now, Gabrielle, to lead us in the exercise.
All right, so we are going to go on a little meditative mindfulness journey together. So if you are able to close your eyes, go ahead and do so at this time. And if you are doing the dishes and caring for your little ones, then just allow the words of this meditation to move with you as you go about your day. So taking the next few moments to let yourself settle in. You're welcome to sit or lie down if that's more comfortable for you. And find any posture that puts your body at ease. Now take a few slow, deep breaths in and out. And let your body begin to soften with each breath. You can try breathing in through your nose and out with an open mouth. Take a few more slow, deep breaths just like this. In through your nose, out through an open mouth. Maybe even letting out a little sigh with each exhale. With each slow and mindful breath, feel your body soften and your mind slowly start to unravel, allowing yourself to settle more deeply into this present moment. Feel all the noise and chatter of your mind begin to fade into the background. And with each breath, invite your awareness to follow the rise and fall of your belly, your shoulders, and your chest, sinking into the steady rhythm of your breathing. Now, as you continue to breathe deeply, drop your awareness back into your body and take a full scan of your body from your head all the way down to your toes. Notice any parts of your body that feel tense or contracted. You might notice tension in your neck, your jaw, your mind, or your heart. And now begin to gently breathe into these spaces. Become aware of your breath as it moves through your body, inviting ease into your shoulders. Allow your jaw and your hands to soften. Allow your hips to sink deeper into the surface beneath you. Your mind and body relax as you continue to breathe deeply here. Your mind, your heart and body expand with each inhale and soften with each exhale. Inhaling to expand and exhaling, letting go. As you arrive here in this moment, take this time to notice how fast or slow your life is moving. Maybe life feels steady and calm, or fast and chaotic. Just notice without any judgment, observing the inner rhythms of your mind and body. Let go of the inner voices of your mind and listen to the beating of your heart. Sit here in the stillness of this precious moment and let all the busyness of your life stand still for just a few breaths. With each breath in, moving closer to your center. With each breath out, relaxing more deeply. Breathing in, finding your center. Breathing out, relaxing more deeply. Breathing in, finding your center. Breathing out, relaxing more deeply. Let your body soften with each breath. Once again now, tuning into the rise and fall of your belly, your shoulders, and your chest. Follow the effortlessness of your breathing for a moment, and let each breath nourish the tired and tender parts of your being, As you continue to nourish yourself with your breath, notice how the pace of life changes from moment to moment, breath to breath. Each moment, a new opportunity to set foot onto the path of your choosing. As you feel yourself slowing to the drip of honey, remind yourself that this ease of being exists within you always, accessible to you through the gateway of your breath, waiting for you to return to this space of stillness whenever you feel called. Breathe slowly. Connect with yourself right here and now. Allow yourself to be in this awareness for a few more breaths, feeling the tranquility and spaciousness that exists within you in this moment. Giving yourself permission to let go and find ease. As you invite release, feel the space that opens up within you, resting here in the simplicity of your being. Now, keeping your eyes closed, slowly begin to bring your awareness back into this space, back into your body and back into the natural rhythm of your breath. As you feel the spaciousness that exists within you at this moment, notice any changes that have taken place within your mind, your heart, and your body. Tune into how you are feeling in this moment and allow yourself to soak in all of the peacefulness that you are experiencing now as you move forward into the rest of your day. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle. That was wonderful. It's hard to be on the live and like kind of snap back into the that was so amazing. Thank you so much for that. And I hope everybody that has joined us today has kind of found a moment of calm a little bit in their crazy day. A few things to wrap up. Thank you, Gabrielle. Thank you, Teresa, for sharing your experiences and being willing to be vulnerable, share your stories and your time with us today. A huge thank you to Expectful for being our partner in this. If you look in our post today, you can get an extended free trial for the Expectful app. And there's a link in there. It's expectful.com/subscription/promo-MMH. But there's a link in our bio today on Instagram. And to everybody who's participated so far in our campaign, we have one more day. And thank you all so much for willing to be a part of this to help raise awareness and to share your stories and help just raise the awareness around maternal mental health and letting moms know that they are not alone. So thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you again, Gabrielle and Teresa. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.